Hello, future Attorney General Glenn Kirschner. How are you?
I'm okay, Steph. How are you? It's been
You're
quite a week.
you're a little Justice League flash into the future, aren't you?
Yeah.
Um, well, so yes, I kind of get through on your tweets sometimes. You say, has Trump's admission that he lied to the American people about the danger posed by the virus upped his criminal exposure from manslaughter to murder? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm going to jump
Yeah.
ahead, right?
Yeah. Even before his admissions to Woodward, right? Those are criminal admissions. Even before that, he was responsible for manslaughter, right? He easily satisfied the three elements of manslaughter with the way he mismanaged the coronavirus pandemic. He was grossly negligent. That gross negligence was reasonably likely to inflict death or serious bodily injury on another, and he thereby caused the death, with causation in the law being defined as conduct that is a substantial factor in bringing about death. However, now that we know he lied to us about how deadly it was, he lied to us or didn't tell us that it was airborne, he deprived us of PPE, of masks, when we needed it most. He refused to produce them under the Defense Production Act. Steph, all he had to do is sign an executive order directing American manufacturers to produce some dang masks so we could all protect ourselves from what we now know he knew was an airborne disease, and he refused to do it. Instead, he arranged for the State Department to fill planes with PPE and send it over to China. He has upped his criminal ante from manslaughter to second-degree murder. Take it from somebody who tried more murder cases than anybody in the Department of Justice, mainly because I was in D.C., and that's what we did in D.C. He is responsible for second-degree murder.
Yeah, I mean, Glenn, I'm not. Again, people like you, Lawrence Tribe, Neil Katyal, people not given to hyperbole. We're saying the same things as you know on Twitter, TV, you name it. That I was thinking. That I'm like, this is beyond resignation. This is The Hague. This is something. This is mass genocide. And then you said it, in Twitter on Twitter. I think yours was the first I read in January. Trump knew how dangerous the virus was. Trump knew how contagious the virus was. Trump knew how deadly the virus was, yet he lied to we the people, leading to massive preventable loss of life. He needs to be indicted, tried, convicted, imprisoned. Justice demands it. I mean, we're so beyond, I think, anything you and I have experienced. I mean, here, as you said when we just, said hello, that here we are on the anniversary of 9/11, and we're at, what are we at, 47 9/11s in terms of body count now. And legally, Glenn, I guess I have so many questions for you, but I guess the question, he didn't just withhold information, right? And he didn't just lie. He deliberately lied about specific, that's what's chilling, isn't it, about the Woodward tapes? He lied specifically about the things that, as you say, would have kept so many people alive. He said it's like a flu when he told Bob Woodward, this is way worse than the most strenuous flu, 5 times worse. He said, children get it, Bob, children get it. He said, children don't get it. They're immune. I mean, he deliberately said the opposite of what he knew to be true. What does that mean legally?
So legally, he lied not because he didn't want to create panic. He lied because he didn't want to hurt his reelection chances. And those lies deprived us from taking precautions that could have saved tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of lives. He lied so we were unable to prevent ourselves, our family members, our loved ones, our neighbors from contracting a deadly virus. That's why he has upped his criminal ante from manslaughter to murder too. Murder too, Steph, only has 2 elements. One is that you cause the death of another. And let me give you 30 seconds of a concrete example of a case we handled in D.C. that demonstrates why the president caused the death of another without having to actually infect someone, stab someone, shoot someone, or strangle someone. Causation, defined as your conduct being a substantial factor in bringing about death, can be satisfied in the law in the following way. We had a case where a robber was chasing a victim. The victim tried to escape by darting out into oncoming traffic. A car hit the victim and killed him. You know who was charged with second-degree murder? Not the driver of the vehicle that killed him, the robber. Why? Because the law deemed that his conduct was a substantial factor in bringing about death. Donald Trump has chased the American people out into the oncoming virus, and that's why he's responsible for second-degree murder.
Wow. Glenn, this is a whole nother, obviously the twin story we're reading at the same time. I don't know where, again, this falls legally, but just that we are in I mean, we know he's perverted everything, the intelligence community, the Justice Department, but the fact that analysts are literally being told, say the opposite. I mean, obviously Russia and right-wing extremists, white supremacist extremists are the biggest threat to America. Right, his first job is to keep Americans safe. They're saying don't make Donald Trump look bad. It'll make the president look bad. Don't tell the American people the degree to which Russia is currently interfering. Don't, say it's Antifa. Don't. I mean, where are we legally? What? I mean, what was? Hang on. There's another one. About the people coming across the border. They just like make up numbers. They like completely lied in order to build the wall or whatever they were trying to do, right?
Yeah, and one of the most telling examples of how the Trump administration lies about the Antifa versus the right-wing extremist thing is when Bill Barr stood up in a press conference a few months back now, I think it was June, and he yelled and screamed, Antifa, Antifa, Antifa. He yelled and screamed, left-wing extremist groups are responsible for the violence in America. And then Pierre Thomas of ABC News, a great reporter, God bless him, he asked the Attorney General a question. He said, Attorney General Barr, why are you not being straight with the American people? Because just yesterday, June 3rd, the press conference was June 4th, yesterday, your Department of Justice indicted 3 members of an extreme, radical, violent right-wing group, the Boogaloo Boys, for infiltrating the otherwise peaceful protests in Las Vegas, and they were charged with a conspiracy to inject violence into those protests, including possessing Molotov cocktails. You have virtually hidden that from the American people while at the same time screaming Antifa is responsible for the violence. You're lying, you're misdirecting, and it's not right. I mean, that is such a concrete example, Steph, of the lies that Bill Barr and company are telling the American people.
Right. Well, and beyond that, this is where, I'm sorry, I have NBC saying just in new whistleblower complaint alleges former senior officials at the Department of Homeland Security inflated the number of known or suspected terrorists coming across the southern border from 6 to nearly 4,000 in efforts to increase support for the border wall. I mean, this is full on autocracy when we're just change the facts and the numbers to make whatever case Trump is trying to make.
Yeah, and Steph, what did the chief of staff of the Department of Homeland Security tell us? Miles Taylor. He was a Trump appointee. He served in that position under Trump for 2.5 years. He finally got sick and fed up with what he saw, and he left, and he's been speaking out. He said that Trump told DHS officials that I want you to break our immigration laws. I don't want you to honor our asylum laws. And the asylum laws say if somebody shows up at the border and they say they are in credible fear of persecution in the country, there are laws in place. We have to give them a credible fear interview. And then if they have a credible fear, we have to allow them to go through the asylum process.
Yeah.
And Miles Taylor, a Trump appointee, said Donald Trump told us to break those laws, and if we got caught, he would pardon us.
Yeah.
That's a little thing called a criminal conspiracy.
That leads me to, first of all, I'm going to keep you really long because when you're Attorney General, you're going to be super busy, obviously, and then I'm going to be like, but I have a jingle. He knows me.
We got his number. Right. I'm not giving it up.
Why'd he change his new phone? Who dis? Did you happen to watch the Peter Strzok interview on Rachel Maddow?
I did.
So,
I did.
So much there. And one of the things, of course, because you were talking about pardoning and Flynn. I mean, you already knew how extraordinary this is, what's happening with Flynn. But I mean, obviously, this very strong implication is that Flynn lied to protect Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
That Donald Trump, that's why he lied, because there's so much that you don't understand about it. Why would he continually lie to the FBI? And obviously, the only conclusion you can rationally draw is because Trump ordered him to do it, and he's protecting Trump.
Barr is not protecting Mike Flynn. Barr doesn't give a rat's butt about whether Mike Flynn spends 6 months in prison or not. Barr is protecting Donald Trump. Everything he does, whether it's dumbing down Roger Stone's sentencing request, whether it's unconstitutionally imprisoning Michael Cohen because he was about to criticize Donald Trump, whether it's trying to get Mike Flynn out of hot water, it is all designed to protect Donald Trump.
This is it's extraordinary. How busy you're going to be when you're Attorney General, because you even on Twitter you said Bill Barr again tries to protect and defend Trump. This time in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case, Barr wants to use our tax dollars to mount a defense of Trump's misconduct. We the people object. And again, Glenn, it says one thing to me. Barr thinks Trump is guilty of rape. This is right before he's supposed to give his DNA, right?
And not only that, when E. Jean Carroll finally came out, and it is so hard. I mean, I dealt with sexual assault victims in my capacity as a prosecutor. It is impossibly difficult for victims to come forward. Why? Because half the time they blame themselves, which obviously they shouldn't, but it's human nature. Yeah. And then they have a whole system attacking them. They have, people who say, we don't believe you. They have defense attorneys, and I'm not dissing defense attorneys. I love our defense attorneys, and everybody needs zealous representation. But defense attorneys call them liars in open court all day long because they came forward and reported what the defendant did to them. Well, in this case, the defendant is Donald Trump. And when she reported it, predictably, what happened? Donald Trump's calling her a liar, saying she's not my type. How do you like that for a rape defense? Yeah, she's not my type.
Not my type. Too unattractive. Yeah.
And now Bill Barr is trying to substitute the United States of America as the respondent, the defendant, and get Donald Trump out of the case. So he wants the case to be the United States of America versus E. Jean Carroll. That doesn't sound like a fair fight, and that's not where our tax dollars should be spent.
Can't believe we're at a place, Glenn, where we're seriously that Barr is trying to claim that it's part of the president's job to call E. Jean Carroll too ugly to rape. Like it's all in the course of his job. I can't. Okay. You also said about reason number 8,647 to vote Trump out. It looks like Barr is coordinating the ongoing Durham investigation with the White House in real time, and now Mark Meadows is virtually chanting, lock them up. Dumping Trump will put a stop to these Banana Republic revenge. Okay, but we're still going to have some October who knows when surprise, right?
Right. And here's the thing, regardless of whether John Durham is doing an honest job or not, I am not willing to say until I see the results. No matter what his findings and conclusions, Bill Barr is going to stand up and misrepresent them exactly as he did the Mueller report. So Barr will announce that something dramatic was found, but we can't believe him. And if we know going into that press conference that he can't be believed, just as Judge Reggie Walton announced and found in his written findings, Bill Barr cannot be believed, that hopefully will temper what kind of nonsense he spouts out.
Glenn, speaking of, I have so much. I need more than a day with you. But so speaking of the Mueller report, I mean, this was last week when I was on vacation, but it is sort of astounding. This came out in the Peter Strzok interview as well. But isn't everything we're finding, isn't it about the Mueller investigation? And is there a chance in this for #justice still to come? Because obviously Mueller, I guess, thought the FBI was doing a counterintelligence investigation. The FBI thought Mueller was doing it. Nobody followed the money. Nobody investigated the financial. Nobody did a counterintelligence. And it could not be clearer. It's Dan Coates, former Republican senator, said that he is obviously compromised. He's obviously, Putin has something on him, however you want to put it. I mean, Glenn, how does this stand in our history? Are we ever going? Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to get to justice, and here's why. Because beginning in January, when we start presenting all of this evidence to the grand jury, I have said my daydream every day, and I'm not making this up, is at 9:30 a.m. on January 21st, I want to be standing outside the grand jury room door in Washington, D.C., where I've stood 100 times, and I want to walk in there and I want to begin presenting evidence to the grand jurors about the crimes of Donald Trump and company. That's when we're going to be able to follow the money. The good news is we already have dozens of crimes that we can bring against Donald Trump. 10 counts of obstruction of justice, witness tampering, obstruction of Congress, campaign finance violations, and probably 250,000 counts of second-degree murder. We got all that. Okay. What we're really going to need to investigate in the grand jury, and we will, I predict, is the money and the compromise that has been keeping the mouths of all these Republicans shut in the face of Donald Trump killing their constituents.
I-
Donald Trump is killing Lindsey Graham's constituents. He's killing Mitch McConnell's constituents, and they will not stand up for their constituents.
We've talked about this 1,000 times, and it goes directly to my daddy issues with you. My dad, former Nuremberg prosecutor, Barry Goldwater's running mate. But you said it on Twitter. You said the Republicans turned on Nixon when tapes revealed the cover-up of a burglary. What will today's Republicans do now that tapes reveal Trump intentionally lied to the American people about the risks associated with a deadly virus leading to thousands of people to their death? And so far, we've seen what the answer is, Glenn. Nothing. Oh, haven't seen it. Oh, don't. I guess don't care. Right? We've seen now. Mitch McConnell, I didn't see that yet. And
yeah. Don't you think it's beyond that they don't care? And don't you think it's beyond not wanting to suffer an angry tweet from Donald Trump that will hurt their reelection prospects? Don't you think, and this only makes sense to me, Steph, that Putin provided Trump with whatever compromising information Putin had on, for starters, all of the politicians who ran over to Russia to celebrate the 4th of July. Putin's very good about collecting up and ginning up compromising information on people. Don't you think he's provided it all to Trump, and that's part of what keeps the Republicans quiet?
Of course. It's all going to come out, and their hashtag justice is coming real quick. Someone tweeted to you, people are saying if he loses, he can resign. Pence becomes president. He gives him a pardon. Is this legally possible? You said it's possible. Then we need to investigate whether Pence and Trump were in a provable conspiracy together, like lying to the American people about the deadly nature of the virus. If so, I contend we can challenge the pardon as corrupt and invalid. Then we prosecute Trump. Same with the Flynn pardon, right? If it's proved that it's to help Trump, obviously.
And can I tell you, Steph, why SCOTUS will ultimately strike down these pardons as corrupt and illegal? Because if SCOTUS doesn't, then SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, is putting the executive branch above the judiciary. And here's how. Donald Trump cleans out the Treasury, right? He does it in a conspiracy with Steve Mnuchin. Then he pardons Mnuchin, and he steps down, and Pence pardons him, and he keeps all of our money. Do you think the Supreme Court is going to say, yep, all valid pardons, he gets to keep all of our taxpayer dollars? No, because that would be the judiciary neutering itself. They won't do it.
Listen, you're a superhero nerd. This is my kind of event. Congressman Eric Swalwell will be in conversation with the Justice League on the election in post-Trump America with Asha Rangappa, Daniel Goldman, Glenn Kirschner, John Dean, Joyce Vance, Matt Miller, and Mimi Rocha. Oh my God, it's 1 degree of Stephanie Miller separation. This is so exciting. We put up a link to the event. I can't wait. Honey, thanks so much.
And Neil Katyal has recently been added too, so I wanted to give. So, and can I do a quick 9/11 shout out?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, really quick. So one of my best friends from college remains my best friend, somebody named Jimmy Clark. His brother, Tommy Clark, was in the tower. He was in the second tower to be hit. Tommy was also a friend of mine. And Tommy, after the first tower got hit, I hope Jimmy doesn't mind me telling the story, was on the phone assuring his loved ones it was the other tower, it wasn't our tower, it wasn't my tower, and then his tower was hit. When they sifted through the rubble, the only thing they found was Tommy's wedding ring. That's all that was left of him. So please let's not forget the victims of 9/11.
All right, honey. Thank you. Thanks, as always, for your time. All right. Glenn Kirschner.
Thank you, Glenn.
Okay.
Thanks, Steph.
Wow.